And with the man with the great victory over Pro Valley State, after taking my phone call, I give your head coach, Willie Simmons.
All right.
Thank you, Eddie. We told, Josh had on like a blue shirt today, so we told Josh that he had to change his shirt. we didn't tell him he needed to put a bulletproof vest underneath. Y'all go easy on Josh. He just got here. He does a great job, and we want to keep him. So, again, it's always a pleasure to be here. First off, I want to definitely make sure I express my sincere condolences. Cicero, again, just one of the first people I met when I got here at the first 220 meeting. Came up to me with a tie. He gave me a tie, gave me socks, and just just talk about some more stuff. I teased him. I think the last time I was here about needing some more ties and socks. So just really crushed me when I heard the news, and would have been here obviously last week if not for his untimely passing. So definitely want to keep him and his family in our prayers. Again, being here, we missed a week, so kind of talked both games. First game obviously down in Miami. Obviously didn't go the way we had all hoped or planned. A lot of reasons as to why. I could say we didn't play well, but again, two really good football teams. I think went toe to toe for 60 minutes down in Miami. And again, it's a hard-fought, old-school football game. Right now, we have two of the top defenses in the country. We're ranked in the top 20 in multiple categories. They're the same way. And so, again, it was a defensive battle. Two new quarterbacks. Of course, Shadua Sanders, their quarterback, playing his first ever college game. Rashawn for us only had one college start under his belt. And then when Junior came in, Junior was playing his first college football game. So when you have a guy like Ryan Stanley in your program for so long, you kind of just get accustomed to just stellar quarterback play. And as we all know, that's one of the most pressure-packed positions in all the sports. Regardless of what sport you're talking about, the quarterback position is that position, right? And so that's why you look at the NFL, you look at the NFL draft, those first 5 to 10 picks of the draft, typically every year are going to be quarterbacks. Because even the teams at the highest level understand that you need a Tom Brady, you need a Pat Mahomes, you need a Russell Wilson. I think the last team to win a Super Bowl with a quarterback who wasn't an MVP candidate was the Tampa Bay Bucks back when they won it with Trent Dilfer, way back in 2002 or something like that. And so, that's something that obviously, had a hand in the game on 2 Sundays ago. Rashawn really had a really good camp, had a really good spring, and we tried to put a game plan together that we felt he could execute, right? Unfortunately, he's a guy that hadn't played a lot of football, so in a game of that magnitude, I think the nerves kind of took over. Some of the throws that he had made all the training camp, all of this spring, the 3 years he's been here, he didn't make it, and so that had a lot to do with our lack of success. And then obviously we had some mistakes up front that kind of had a hand in him taking some shots that he necessarily didn't have to take. And as a guy who's played the position, it's very, very tough to get in a rhythm when you're getting hit consistently, right? This is football. So this isn't basketball or baseball, where you get bumped a little bit, it makes you miss free throws. No, you're a guy that's got to stand in there and throw the ball on time and make reads and be accurate. When you're getting hit every play by big, strong guys, it does take its toll. And so I think a lot of his ineffectiveness was due to the fact that he was on his back for a big part of the game. Now, obviously that means we had some stuff to clean up front. They gave us some defensive fronts that we had not seen, that they had not shown in 6 games in the spring. So again, kudos to Jackson State. They kept some tricks in the bag for this season. And so it took us a while to kind of, really the whole game, to really kind of see how they were lining up and moving guys around and those things. They didn't show a whole lot of press man coverage. And they challenged our receivers by getting in their faces and playing man coverage. And so when you do that, it forces you to be accurate at quarterback and it forces you to get the ball out of your hands because they're bringing a lot of pressure. And we didn't handle that very well. So that attributed to a lot of our lack of success on the offensive side. And then just the fact, again, of not playing, we didn't make the plays that we normally would make. We caught the ball outside on some screens and some perimeter plays, and we weren't as dynamic as we normally are at the wideout position. And so the downside about college football, I think it's the greatest sport in the world because of the love, the pageantry, all the things that surround it. But the one negative to college football is we're the only sport in the world where there's no preseason. You have no opportunity to work out kinks. The first time you take the field, you're playing a game that counts. And for us, it just so happened to be a conference game. Had we played a game, a scrimmage or something the week before against another team, then we probably would have worked out a lot of those details and those kinks. But the fact that our first time taking the field after 650 days off is on national television in a conference game, it really doesn't bode well for one team. All right? And that's one thing about college football that I really wish the NCAA would consider is, at least if it's one, even if they allow us to go across the tracks and scrimmage for the state, in a controlled scrimmage to say, okay, you're going against somebody else, you get to work out some kinks in detail. We don't get that opportunity. And so for us, we lost our first game by 1 point, and we're 0-1 in conference. But the good thing is there's still a lot of football left to be played. We still have 7 more conference games. All of our goals are still on the table. We just need a little bit of help, right? And that happens. That's college football. So I thought the team responded well. Had a good week of practice the next week on a short week. Played Sunday. We gave the guys Monday off to kind of rest their legs, and then we took the field Tuesday, which means we're basically 2 days behind in preparation. So on a short week, we were able to put a game plan together, play against a tough Fort Valley State team who had just won 31-0 the week before. And our guys came out, defense played lights out once again. Offensively, we decided to start Junior after Rashawn struggled a little bit in game 1, and Junior struggled. He came out and I think was pressing, trying to do a little bit too much instead of taking what the defense gives him. So made a decision right before halftime to go back with Rashawn, and Rashawn came in and played the way that he's capable of playing. Completed 75% of his passes, threw a touchdown, no interceptions, no turnovers, and we began to get some momentum and move the ball and score some points, which we're capable of doing. Xavier Smith had a big game. Jamari Sharif had some big plays. We ran the ball fairly well with the limited amount of carries we had, and we were able to have a really solid second half of football. Okay, so Eddie didn't tell the whole story. I didn't talk to him before the Fort Valley game. I talked to him during the lightning delay. So we had a lightning delay. He called. He said he finally had gotten his plays. It's been a long time. He's been working on a lot of stuff, and he was finally able to break away from Miss Jerry. And he gave me the plays that was lightning delay, and then that's when we were able to score 24 points on offense in the second half. So, and I appreciate it. And we'll need those plays early this week because we need to go ahead and get started early. But again, great to be back in the win column. It's been a long time, almost 2 years. Great to see everyone back in Bragg. I thought the student section showed up and did a phenomenal job. I was really impressed by the turnout from our students and you guys. So the student side was filled and the alumni side was filled. And so again, I definitely appreciate you guys coming out to support these young men, particularly after a loss. I know that sour taste was in all of our mouths. And so the fact that you guys showed up and supported these young men really meant a lot. So we'll need it this week as well. We're back on the road again, going down to Tampa to take on a South Florida team. Obviously, this is our quote-unquote guarantee game. So we're playing an FBS opponent this year, the only one on our schedule. They're 0-2. They lost to North Carolina State, who's a really good team this year, I believe, 45-0. And then they lost to the University of Florida this past week, 45-20, I believe. So they outscored Florida in the second half, 17-7. So they kind of like us, had a really good second half. We had a really good second half. So we both have some momentum going into this game. But again, this is us going on the road against a quote-unquote bigger team. And so we'll need to play sound football, not beat ourselves. We have to play aggressive. We have to match their size, their speed, their intensity with execution. And if we do that, I really believe we can go down there and have a great showing. And we don't have to be perfect to win the game, but we have to play good football. I think that's the important message for our guys. We have to play good football for us to have a chance to win this game on Saturday. So looking forward to it. Hope everyone can make it to Tampa, Raymond James Stadium. And we'll be out there and ready to get it on against the Bulls. And I'll be playing my old college teammate, Jeff Scott, so the head coach of the South Florida Bulls, and I both at Clemson at the same time, back in 1999. So same age, was there at Clemson for 4 years together, and so looking forward to looking across the sideline and seeing one of my peers, being the head coach of the other team. So that'll be exciting for me, adds a little bit more of a personal flavor for me, and but again, I think it'll be a really good ball game that people will want to see. So obviously we'll open the floor for questions about week 1 or week 2, and let's start on the right side first.
How will we have to top out in the conference? We got one loss.
How we have to top what?
Top out in our conference. We got one loss. Is it possible for us to win the conference?
Yes, yeah. I mean, again, so the way it works, obviously, technically Jackson will have to lose twice because if they lose once, they win the head-to-head against us. So they will have to lose 2 games in conference. But again, we both have 7 more conference games left. I think the East is going to be tough this year. Alabama A&M right now is playing really good football. Alabama State's tough on defense, and they have their rival game at the end of the year in Alcorn State. They still got to play Southern. So again, we all have some really good games, strong games in conference to play. So we got to play good football too. So it's not necessarily looking at the scores every week to see if somebody's beat Jackson. We got to worry about ourselves. And so if we do our part, I think we'll be in good position at the end of the season to do some great things. And that's our focus. So I'm not really worried about Jackson. I'm more worried about this football team and what we need to do moving forward week to week.
Coach, against Jackson State, that last play, did we have a chance we could have made that field goal? And the next question, what was the attendance for that game, and what was the attendance for this game?
So to speak on the attendance first, I think, speaking to people, I think 32,000 showed up in the stadium, but I think there were 35 or 6,000 tickets purchased
At Miami.
at the Orange Blossom.
Is that good?
I think, for considering COVID and all the things that's around, I think that's pretty good. Now I think next year will be a lot bigger. Okay. I think we'll be hopefully out of the wind, with COVID, and I think the fact that people see how big this game is going to be, because as big as it was this year, it's going to be even bigger next year. So I anticipate, closer to 50,000 people in the game on next year. But as far as it would have been a 55-yard field goal, and so that's a long field goal, and we had enough time on the clock that if we convert the first down, we can spike the ball and still get field goal, opportunity. Because again, they got the ball back and they had to take a knee to end the clock. The clock didn't run out on the last play. There was 20-some seconds left in the game. So we get a first down there, which we check the ball down to Chad running wide open. Chad runs probably another 20 yards. He gets down, we spike the ball, and we can kick a 39-yard
So we
field
had
goal.
20 seconds left.
Yeah, it was 20-some seconds left when we didn't convert the 4th down. Yeah, it wasn't the last play of the game. So yes, we had time. So it was one of those deals where you take a shot at a 55-yard field goal, which is, I hadn't seen us hit one from 55 in practice. I've seen us hit it from 49. He made a 49-yarder last week, and now that I've seen him kick it, maybe in the future we may take that opportunity. But we just got one blocked in the first half, so didn't know why it got blocked. Now once we watched it on film, we saw that there were a couple of breakdowns as to why that kick got blocked, and I don't know if those things would have been fixed in time to make that field goal, because because it's long and Vaughn can attest to it. A long field goal, sometimes it's a lower kick, and the kicker sometimes pauses a little bit to try to, so on the one that was blocked, he was really slow in his operation time. And so, but again, it's one of those deals where, you have to make a quick decision, and we didn't have timeouts to talk about it. So, we decided to go for it, and the play was there. We were open. We just, like much of the game, we missed some open guys. And that's what happens when you have young quarterbacks, and we'll learn from it. We'll get better. But, in the future, we may take a shot at 55-yarder because Jose can hit them. The one he hit yesterday, Saturday was 49 and probably had about 8 more yards to spare. So he's got a NFL type leg.
Yes. Can you give me some clarification on the punt play that was stopped in the Jackson State game, that was kind of stopped in mid-play when they muffed the punt?
Trying to remember. I think that was one that they reviewed. I want to say there was a review.
Okay.
So whenever they review a play from the booth, they stop the next play. And so that's what happened. They had to review the spot or something that was that they weren't sure of, and so they ended up stopping it before we muffed the punt. Yeah.
Coach, could you repeat the question?
I'm sorry. He was asking about.
I got that one, but in the future.
Okay, I'm sorry, Colonel.
Got a two-part question here. One about club members in Jacksonville asked me to find out about this. The first part of this, there's a guy that was on the team supposedly from Kansas State. Nobody knows anything, what happened to him, is he still there injured or whatever.
Okay.
That's the first one. And then this week's game, is it gonna be on TV? What channel? And something George has said about 90.5. He needs to bring that to my house so I can.
Josh won't be the one doing it, but no. So the first question was about John Hope, quarterback for Kansas State. John's no longer with us, academically ineligible, so he wasn't able to be with us this year. So I hate it for him, but obviously, there are things that you have to do to maintain your eligibility and status, and he didn't get those things done. And then as far as the game, it is televised, ESPN Plus, which is a subscription. So if you know someone with a subscription, I think you can pick it back off theirs some kind of way. But yeah, it's ESPN Plus.
Is it too late
Is
to
it too late to
get it prescribed or whatever at Xfinity?
It's online.
Oh, it's on ESPN Plus. That's
Yeah, ESPN Plus. That's online.
okay. That's online. So that's like 360.
Yeah.
It's like it's the paid version of ESPN.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you have to get a paid subscription. So it's not too late, Dr. Walker. I think you can.
From Xfinity?
I'm sure you can.
I mean Comcast?
Order through Comcast or Xfinity. Yes, ma'am.
Not that expensive. Coach, I got a friend of mine living in Louisiana. He want to know about, you draft a player out of Louisiana named Eddie Tillman. Eddie.
Yes, Eddie Tillman.
Is he still on the team?
Yes, he is. Eddie Tillman's still on the team. He plays special teams for us. He's a running back, and so right now he's the third slash 3A, 3B running back behind Bishop and Terrell Jennings.
Okay.
And then DeAndre Francis has been playing a lot, the true freshman from Rickards. But ET plays a lot on special teams. But yeah, he is still on the team.
Okay, so I can probably tell he's still on the team.
He is on the team, yes.
Coach, did he play this past
He
Saturday?
played this past Saturday, yes, he did. Yeah. He's number 33.
What's the status of Savion Reed?
So Savion right now is going through a waiver process because of some academic issues as well, and so we're working through those. But as of right now, he's not eligible to play. So we're trying to work through those, and hopefully we'll get him at some point this season. I'll come right back to you.
The guy that got, I guess, lineman, number 27 in Miami game that they got put out for the targeting. Didn't he play Saturday, or what's the deal with that?
Right, so about the targeting, yes. So Nadarius got targeting in the first half of the Jackson State game. So the rule is, if you get ejected for targeting in the first half, you miss the rest of that game, and then you're able to play the next week. If you get ejected in the second half for targeting, you have to miss the first half of the next week's game. So because he got ejected in the first half, he just missed the rest of that game, and then he was able to play this past week. So yes, he did. But he was the one that.
Tried to tell somebody.
Yeah. Well, the officials didn't know either. They came and asked me at halftime. Like, he's supposed to be playing. Yeah. So, they literally did. During the lightning delay, they came in and asked him like, "You don't know the rules? Like, he's okay."
That means there wasn't no target.
No, it was definitely target. You can't headbutt the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
That's the rule number one. You got to protect the trigger man.
I forgot to ask about General Hunt. His
Mhm.
condition.
Okay,
He's injured.
Yeah, so Gentle, rolled his ankle in last week's game. He's questionable for this week. In games like this, obviously, it's a game that we really want to win. We're going to go down there and play to win. But in the grand scheme of things, I want General Hunt for the SWAC play. Chad Hunter's the same way. So we probably could do enough to get those guys on the field, but you run the risk of maybe further injury. So we have to be smart. They'll both travel with us this weekend, but whether they play will be a game time decision. So Gentle and Chad were both hurt in last week's game, and we'll see what their status is on Saturday.
Well, I'm feeling good when you said rolled his ankle.
Nothing major. Yeah, nothing major. No, it was an ankle. Both were ankles, so nothing too serious. Colonel?
Coach, can you talk about the pass rush, particularly against Jackson State, and how you see it for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so defensively, we've been playing really, really good football. I knew that we were very deep on the defensive line, and that's even without Savion and Abu Ben-Gura, who are both guys that right now are technically academically ineligible. So, but we have a lot of bodies, and so Isaiah Land has been a really good player for us so far, rushing the passer and playing against the run, and we got a really, really nice surprise with Deontay Williams. Deontay Williams is a transfer that came to us from FSU. Deontay's dad actually played at Florida State back from 85 to 88, played safety, so I think he played with Deion in the secondary back then. And Deontay is from Texas, from Frisco area, and luckily for us, he had an apartment in Tallahassee already, and he just said, I don't want to move, so I'm going to come to FAMU. But Deontay's got 3 sacks in 2 games. And he was a SWAC newcomer of the week this past week. Probably would have been the SWAC defensive player of the week, but Jackson had a guy with 4.5 sacks against Tennessee State. So, but Deontay's playing really good football. So with he and Isaiah Land at the bookends, I mean, you're talking about some serious speed coming off the edge. They're really tenacious pass rushers, both really smart, tough guys. And I think they're going to give some quarterbacks and offensive tackles fits this year. So we're excited to have those guys, and now if we can create some interior push because they're so fast off the edge, those quarterbacks have to step up. And so we can get some interior push from those big guys. We'll give some quarterbacks fits, and hopefully we can do that this weekend because the biggest way to neutralize a quarterback is to get pass rush on them.
What is his classification?
Deontay's a graduate. He's a graduate transfer. So yeah, so unfortunately we only got him for 1 year.
Coach.
Yes, Coach.
For my record, what number is Deontay?
He's number 6. Deontay's number 16.
16?
Yeah, so they kept calling him Derek Hall because we have some duplicate numbers on the team, so we got that fixed now, so he'll be recognized by his proper name. So that's probably why Deion's mad that players don't have their names on the back of their jerseys that you can recognize other guys. Deontay's a graduate senior. He's a graduate transfer. Yes, ma'am.
Coach, we made Come On Man. Did you see that?
For the wrong reasons.
Yeah, for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, probably for the wrong reasons. So, yeah, no, I didn't see it. I think I heard about it. One of the plays in the Jackson State game. So now we always want to be on TV, but for the right reasons. For the right reasons. For the right reasons. Being the number 103rd public university in the country is a reason to be on TV. So we want good reasons like that, but not for getting the pass caught on us. Yeah, boss.
Coach, you pretty much touched on mine a few minutes ago about the officiating in the Jackson State game. Illegal not illegal, sportsmanship, and on the incomplete pass. I think we all know that was an incomplete pass. The little boy from Jackson State picked it up, ran it in. The team went down the end zone to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
You got the flag. What you think on that flag? Now, we did get a field goal out of it.
Yeah, so, that's one of those unfortunate plays where whether the rule is a good rule or bad rule, the point is, you have to be a disciplined football team. Like, you can't celebrate. Like, even if it was a real touchdown, they would have gotten the flag thrown. But because now, what I told the ref was, it's their fault because it was clearly a thrown pass. Like, it was the official's fault. But again, the officials, I mean, you can't say, well, that was my fault, so I'm not going to enforce this rule, right? I mean, if a police car is supposed to be visible and he's on the side, but he's somewhere in the woods, and you go speeding by, you're gonna get a ticket, right? I mean, they still created, they had an infraction. They scored, the whole team ran the end zone. That's a penalty. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. Well, you can't waive off unsportsmanlike. Like, regardless of the situation, they committed an infraction. Yeah, but I mean, that's football. Like, I can't go on the field to contest a call, whether it was a good call, a bad call, or whatever. That's a penalty. Players can't run into the end zone, one, for safety reasons, right? I mean, you got the whole team outside the players' box, so it was unfortunate for them, but again, that's the message to their team, that's the message to our team. You gotta be a disciplined football team, or you're gonna get beat, and that could have been the difference in the football game there. So I definitely see your point. Their mistake caused Jackson to have a penalty, but Jackson did commit an infraction by having an unsportsmanlike, type of infraction. So yeah, it's one of those catch-22s, but I don't disagree with the call.
Coach, the officiating this past Saturday. Have you heard about what happened to the officials that had open mouth talking about? Hot mics. You gotta be careful about hot mics. I think we've seen that enough from politicians. You gotta make sure that mic is off if you're gonna talk trash about some things. So, but apparently the head official made a comment, and he didn't realize that his mic was hot. And so he was suspended for this week's game. I think it did not get paid. But again, officiating is a tough job, and I last week was probably the nicest I've ever been to officials in my life. But it's a tough job, but it's a job that has to be done, and just like everything else, you have to do it with a certain level of integrity as an official, right? And so, you can't view our brand or whatever brand, like, you just can't do that. Like, you can't go in saying this brand is inferior to this brand. I wish I was in this conference, officiating. Everybody wants to officiate in the SEC. Everybody. Like, the checks are a lot bigger, the exposure's a lot bigger. I mean, it is what it is, but our guys deserve a fair call game just like the players in the SEC do, right? So if you're gonna be an official in the SWAC, or the MEAC, or the SIAC, or the CIAA, you better realize that you're officiating somebody's kid. Like, that's somebody's son out there playing the game that deserves to be treated with respect. Because most of the calls that are made are safety issues, right? Most of the rules of football regarding safety, player safety. So if your mindset is wrong and you're not going to officiate the game the right way, somebody's kid's going to get hurt severely, and we can't have that. So I think it was a great message that was sent by doing that, and hopefully all the officials know, like, if you're going to officiate our games, like, we expect first-class officiating just like y'all expect first-class football, right? It doesn't matter whether you're HBCU, Power 5, Group of 5, Division 2, NAIA, we expect a great officiating crew, and if you don't want to do that, then don't officiate. Like, if you're not going to give first-class service, then don't officiate, right? That's just my opinion. He was suspended for this week, so he won't officiate this week, and I think he lost his game check for last week.
Is that the only penalty? Because with that mindset, from my perspective, he doesn't need to be out there.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm sure he had a conversation with the head of officials, like a real conversation, and depending on the nature of that conversation, it may be some more severe penalties. Now, he may have been very apologetic. I don't know. I mean, I haven't spoken with the guy, I haven't spoken with the head of officials. So he may have been very apologetic, he may be remorseful, and he may, turn the corner and commit to being the official that he's worked his whole life to be. You don't become a white hat by just going out there officiating. He's put in a lot of hours officiating games, and so hopefully he remembers why he's doing this. Not to collect a check, not to, but to serve these people because we have to have officials at a football, at all sporting events. So to me, that's no different than a police officer, than a teacher, than a coach. Anybody who's in the service industry, like you're in it to serve people. And so if you don't want to serve, then go work construction, right? Go get a job where you don't have to serve somebody. You just do the job that's right there in front of you. But again, I get mad when I go to restaurants and somebody the waiter, hey, you can't serve me. Like, you don't want to serve me, like, go home. Like, yes, I want some extra tomatoes on my salad. Can I get them, please? Without an attitude. I'm paying for the service, but it's just one of those things that officiating, they get a raw deal. Every game you're gonna be critical of the officials, but that comes with the territory, right? 3 people are gonna get barbecued after every football game. The officials, the head football coach of the losing team, and the quarterback of the losing team. Like, everybody's an official, everybody's a head football coach, right? So that's just the nature of it. So as officials, you understand that. You're gonna get talked about. Like, the only difference is, that if I talk about them publicly, they'll fine me. Ain't none of y'all been fine talking about me for 2 weeks. I'm gonna make Eddie start collecting some checks.
And they said that his boss man was in the stadium also.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that made it worse.
Hey, Coach, I know it was halftime. I don't know what you told them guys in the locker room or whatever. I know the first half.
Honestly, again, I got to wrap it up. I got one to the ESPN call, but all I told those guys at halftime, and this was probably my most mild halftime speech ever, was stop trying to play football and just play football. Like, for 6 quarters, we've been trying to be good. We've been trying to do the right. Guys, y'all been playing this game your whole life. Just play it. Like, stop trying to do it and just go do it. Relax. Understand it's just a game. Somebody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna lose. Somebody's gonna get talked about. Somebody's not. Just go play. And they finally took all that off of them, and they went and played good football. So hopefully we'll do that the rest of the year.
All right. I'm always saying.
Four-string quarterback with you this?
We're gonna take 4. Yeah, we're gonna take 4 guys, 4 quarterbacks.
Is Jackson that 4th guy?
Jackson. Oh, Eddie? Oh, Eddie. He's the offensive coordinator. He's got one job. Is to get the plays into me.
He's been promoted.
No, we had bad quarterback play enough. We've had enough bad quarterback. I saw some Eddie's old highlight reels.
All right.
Last question.
I was in Miami in that last drive. The communication between you and the quarterback. We had a lot of delay in getting going.
So a lot of issues was the question. I'm sorry, was about the last drive. It looks like we had some communication issues. What we were doing, we were what we call freezing. So we were looking at the defense, see what they were in, and then Junior, again, the 18-year-old guy, his operation, he was just slow. Like, he was kind of walking around and telling the line to play. Like, he didn't have that sense of urgency that we need. So we had a couple of, and then in the center, when he gets a call, the center has to make the call to the line. If it's a pass play, who are we sliding to? Who are we working to? So a couple of times he was trying to communicate that to the line. Obviously, if you have the ball in your hands and you're talking, you don't hear the quarterback calling the cadence. And so we had 2 false starts, right? So it wasn't necessarily lack of communication or being slow. It was just operation. Fundamental football day 1. Quarterbacks have a sense of urgency. Wait till the center makes his call, get the ball snapped. So an 18-year-old kid learned about, and that's what I told him. Right at that last drive, when he came off, I grabbed him, I said, you're gonna learn a lot from this game. You're gonna grow up tremendously once we watch the film. And he has, and he will. So Rashawn played a lot better last week, which I expected. I think Junior, when he gets a chance again, will play a lot better this week moving forward. And that's what this game is all about. It's about growing, getting better, learning, and that's what we're all doing. So hopefully, like I said, we can put that together this week, go down there and give South Florida hell, and then come back 2-1. So see you guys next week. Let me go tell ESPN some lies.
Coach, one quick item. I just want to point out that 2,000 of that $3,000 that came in was based on the initiative of Mr. Lamb. Let's give Mr. Lamb a round.
My neighbor. And at the
U.S. Open, those of you who watched the finals, the person at the end who presented that $2.5 million check with Mr. Lamb's son. Is that right, Mr. Lamb? I want to make sure I got it right. What's his name? Brian. Can you tell us briefly, what does he do?
It was Brian Lamb.
Yeah, and what does he do?
He worked for J.P. Morgan Chase. He's an executive in New York City in Manhattan.
Diversity and inclusion, right?
Yeah, diversity and inclusion.
And he's been president of a couple of banks.
Down in Tampa area, down in the Tampa Bay area, he was president and CEO of whole North Florida. But they promoted him. He was working for Fifth Third Bank then.
Right.
And they promoted him to Cincinnati as an executive. And J.P. Morgan stole him about a year and a half. Okay. Now he was J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yeah. So now I heard you're responsible for bringing him here to speak to the club and bring another $2.5 million. Gosh, okay.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
Coach, you want to bring are we bringing the lunch to the court?
She fixed it already.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, folks. Any comments about anything else from the audience? Next week, same time, same place.
I have my eye surgery tomorrow. Hope it comes out. God
And then, I'm going to tell you how